Mr. President, the majority leader always reminds me he can have the last word, and I'm sure he can have the last word again. Speaking for Senator Vitter, he did ask for a lot of information from the new prospective director of the EPA. So did Senator Boxer. She asked for 70,000 pages herself, but he was satisfied with the responses that he got. This is how the process ought to work. This is how it's worked for decades. You're trying to get answers to questions. You're trying to engage in some kind of prediction as to how somebody might operate in the future. What the majority leader has really been saying here all along is he wants the confirmation process to be speedy and for the minority to sit down and shut up. He believes that advise and consent means sit down and shut up. Confirm these nominees when I tell you to. Now, the reason he's taken a lot of heat over this is because he's broken his word to the United States Senate, given back last January that we had resolved the rules issue for this Congress. And I know for a fact, even though he may get his 51 votes, there are a lot of Democrats who are not happy with where you are. When they tell me that, the Republican I expect they'd be least likely to want to tell that to. I know what's going on here. They've been hammered into line. This has been personalized by the majority leader. You got to do this for me. And what's astonishing here is he's saying you got to do this for me because you got to help me break my word, go back on everything I said in my own biography just a few years ago. You got to help me look bad. You got to help me break my word, violate what I said in my own biography, create unnecessary controversy in the United States Senate, which has done major bills on a bipartisan basis all year long and had begun to get back to normal. This is really hard to understand. And this is why my members are astonished at where we are. They're scratching their heads. Saying, who manufactured this crisis? We know who manufactured it. The guy right over here to my left. So this is really a sad, sad day for the United States Senate. And if we don't pull back from the brink here, my friend, the majority leader, is going to be remembered as the worst leader of the Senate ever. The leader of the Senate who fundamentally changed the body. It makes me sad. All my members are angry. I'm more sad about it. But it's a shame that we've come to this. I sure hope all the Democratic senators are there Monday night. I'm certainly going to encourage my members to be there. It's high time we sat down and tried to understand each other, because many members on the other side are hearing a different version from the facts that are largely unrelated to reality. So, Mr. President, I know my friend, the majority leader, will have the last word. He reminds me that frequently on a daily basis, that the difference between being the majority leader and the minority leaders, he gets the last word. So I'll yield the floor and listen to the last word.
Mr. President.
The majority leader.
No matter how many times he says it, he tends to not focus on what he has done to the Senate. As I indicated earlier, there's lots of time for name calling. But we know it's replete in the record as delivered this morning, how he said there would be no filibusters. We would follow the norms of the Senate, only extraordinary circumstances. Extraordinary circumstances have come because we're in session, I guess. The only person that I know that thinks things are going just fine here is my friend. The American people knows this institution is being hammered hard, and he doesn't have to worry about me. Heat I've taken. I haven't taken any heat. I had a very nice caucus today. My caucus was very thoughtful. We heard from out of my 54 senators, we probably heard from 25 or 26 of them. The attendance was nearly perfect. So, Mr. President, I don't want him to feel sorry for the Senate, certainly not for me. And I'm going to continue to try to speak in a tone that is appropriate. His name calling, I guess he follows, I hope not, the demagogic theory that the more you say something, if it's false, people start believing it. But Mr. President, it's quite interesting that he thinks that the Richard Cordray, who no one says there's a thing wrong with this man, former Attorney General of the state, heavily populated state of Ohio. Democrats and Republicans have said he's a good guy. This man's been waiting for 724 days. Assistant Secretary in Defense, 292 days. Monetary Fund Governor, 169 days. EPA, 128 days. NLRB, 2 of them, 573 days. We have 15 of them. The average time waiting is 9 months. So, Mr. President, and of course, reshuffling the votes as he wants them, I mean, that's a laugher. He wants to have a majority of this NLRB to be Republicans. I don't think that's really a good idea. So, Mr. President, we're going to have our caucus Monday. I think it was a good idea. You know, I've tried to have them before. My friend has objected to them. That's replete in the press. But we're going to have this one. I'm happy to do that. My friend said the process works. The process works. The status quo is good. I don't think so.
Mr. President,
Republican leader.
of course, the majority of the NLRB would not be Republicans. And I've mentioned to the administration on several occasions, send us up 2 nominees who are not illegally appointed. But we can't seem to get that done. I mean, the taint attached to the 2 NLRB nominees and to Mr. Cordray, who I agree is a good man and many of our members support, is that they were illegally appointed. But of course, the agencies have not been at a disadvantage. They're there, waiting. He may have been waiting to be confirmed, but he's not waiting to do the job. He's in office. The 2 NLRB members in office. The question is, do we respect the law? A federal court has said the 2 NLRB members were illegally appointed. Mr. Cordray, unfortunately, was appointed on exactly the same day in exactly the same way. Is the Senate just completely lawless? Do we not care what the federal courts say? I'm just stunned at where we are. It's pretty clear to me that all the other nominees are highly likely to be confirmed. So what it really comes down to is that the majority leader is going to break the rules of the Senate, to change the rules of the Senate in order to confirm with 51 votes 3 illegally appointed positions that the federal courts have told us are unconstitutionally appointed. That is the rationale for the nuclear option. That's why I say it's a sad day for the Senate, a sad day for America.
Mr. President.
The majority leader.
Illegally appointed. Why did President Obama recess appoint Cordray and the 2 NLRB members? Because Republicans had blocked them. Blocked them, blocked them, blocked them. Now, we count Cordray as only 571 days. That went on long before he got there. Elizabeth Warren is the one that set up this program. They said, no chance, don't even think of bringing her here. And that's where he came with Cordray. Elizabeth Warren found him as Attorney General of Ohio. So these big crocodile tears, you know, you have recess appointments because the president had no choice if he wanted his team to work. And he said, we would be happy to process them quickly. Just like Richard Perez has been processed quickly, just like all these people have been processed quickly. Sorry, Mr. President, sorry. So there's not a chance that we're going to let the NLRB be dominated by Republicans. That one organization above all looks out for working men and women in this country should not be dominated by Republicans, and it's not going to be. So I repeat, this issue could be resolved very quickly. I had somebody out here at my stakeout say, what happens if you get cloture on everybody? So there's no problem. They can all vote against these people. They can vote against them, every one of them. But they, on procedural basis, they're holding up votes on people who are well qualified and would be approved by the Senate if they got a vote. So this is a little strange deal. Talk about marshaling your troops to do something that's absolutely wrong. It's that. If they're so worried about the rules changes around here, it would seem to me they should approve 3 qualified people that no one suggests there's anything wrong with any of them. And why were they recess appointed? Because the Republicans forced President Obama to do that. So, Mr. President, there'll be no further votes. Next vote will be Monday at 5:30.
Mr. President.
The Republican leader.
On the issue of delay, I'm trying to avoid bursting out in laughter here. The 2 NLRB nominees were sent up to the Senate December the 15th, 2011. December the 15th, 2011. Before their paperwork got here, 2 weeks later, the president recess appointed them. Delay? Their paperwork hadn't even been arrived. Hadn't even arrived. The committee couldn't do anything with them. And a couple of weeks later, they were recess appointed. Now, that's not my definition of a delay by any objective standard. The core issue here, no matter how much the majority leader tries to obfuscate and discuss other matters, is he is prepared to break the rules of the Senate, to change the rules of the Senate for 3 nominees who were unconstitutionally appointed according to the federal circuit court in Washington, D.C. For that, the majority leader proposes to use the nuclear option. It's a sad commentary on today's Senate.
As Majority Leader, I intend to run the Senate with respect for the rules and for the minority rights that the rules protect. Mr. President, the Senate was not established to be efficient, and sometimes the rules get in the way of efficiency, but the Senate was established to make sure that minorities are protected. Majorities can always protect themselves, but minorities can't. That's what the Senate was all about. More than 200 years, the rules of the Senate has protected the American people, and rightfully so. The need to muster 60 votes in order to terminate Senate debate naturally frustrates the majority, and oftentimes the minority. I'm sure it will frustrate me when I assume the office of Majority Leader in just a few weeks. But I recognize this requirement as a tool that serves the long-term interests of the Senate, the American people, and our country. It is often said that the laws are, quote, the system of wise restraints that set men free, end of quote. The same might be said of the Senate rules. I'll do my part as Majority Leader to foster respect for the rules and traditions of our great institution. And I say here, Mr. President, on this floor that I love so much, that I believe in the golden rule. I am going to treat my Republican colleagues the way that I expect to be treated. There's no, I've got you, no get even. I'm going to do everything that I can to preserve the traditions and the rules of this institution that I love.